What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome in. It is 1TS Daily right here at One True Sports. How's it going? I'm Zack Heydorn, your host from Brass Ring Media and Sports Illustrated. Happy Friday. It's October 25th, 2024. So pumped to be here ahead of a busy weekend in professional wrestling, and we got a lot to get to on this show. If you're tuning in and you're listening and watching us on YouTube, hello, thanks so much for being here. Always appreciate it, and thank you for hitting play on the show and joining us live. If you're on Twitter watching as well, hello to you guys too. Thanks so much for joining us. And happy Friday to you. If you're watching live, either on Twitter or on YouTube, and you wouldn't mind hitting that like button, that always is a big help. And it always, just helps us grow the show and helps us do our thing and helps us get the show in front of more eyes. And that's always good. So thank you in advance if you could do that. This is 1TS Daily. We are live with this show every single day, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, talking about the news of the day in professional wrestling, whatever that may be. So maybe it's a show preview. Maybe it's a review of a show. Maybe it's just some crazy news that hit. Either way, we talk about it all and we break it down. I try to make this show just like a quick, 30-minute fix of what you need to know and what's happening in the world of wrestling for the day. So that's it. That's what we do. Don't miss one of these things. Join us live every single day. And I think you'll be happy that you did. You'll also be happy if you head over to onetruesport.com. That is where you can find a lot of cool stuff. All of our merch is there. 1TS Daily merch is there. Unique and exclusive merch to top talent like RVD and Kurt Angle and others is all there. And maybe some new exciting stuff coming up soon. So keep it locked, onetruesport.com. My offer still stands. If you wear a piece of 1TS Daily merch, right, out in the wild at a wrestling show or anywhere, snap a picture, tag us in it, hashtag 1TS Daily, tag me at Zack_Heydorn, and you're getting a special prize, courtesy of the show and courtesy of One True Sports. So take me up on it. Somebody. Live chat is open. We got Amy who's already in there. Amy says, good morning. Good morning, Amy. Happy Friday. Hopefully you had a wonderful, wonderful week. Other people filing in as well. So live chat's open. Super chats are also open if you are able to make a contribution to the show and willing. Ask a question, make a comment, and all super chats get bumped up to the top. We'll make sure we get to all those. The live chat, of course, is open too, and drop your questions in there as well. Want to make this as engaging as possible. Like when you guys get the chat going, man, these shows are the best. So thank you in advance for that. And anything you want me to get to or comment on, or maybe you want to make a comment about what I'm saying. Either way, you can do that within the live chat, and I will keep tabs on that as we get going here with our show. Okay, as I have mentioned all week long, today is going to be heavy on the preview because we've got two big shows coming up this weekend. We've got NXT Halloween Havoc, which is on Sunday, and that is from Hershey, Pennsylvania, and that'll be on Peacock. We also have TNA has their big Bound for Glory event, which is their biggest show of the year. Like it's their WrestleMania. So that's a big show that I want to make sure that we get to today as well. So we're going to spend a lot of our time doing that. However, like I said, if you guys want to talk about something or a different topic altogether, drop it in the live chat and we'll make sure we hit that. I'm fully prepared to spend a little bit more time here than 30 minutes because we just have such a big show. So we'll see how things go. Let's start with NXT. We'll start with NXT. We'll start with Halloween Havoc. Again, that's Sunday night, so 8 Eastern, and so a little bit of a later show. But these NXT shows, I think have flown under the radar collectively. Really since Shawn Michaels took over. And that and once Triple H kind of went to the main roster, I think I think that it just has turned a corner a little bit and has been better. Not all hits, but better. And the pay-per-views in particular, I think have been quiet good shows. They're like clean shows. They're like 2.5 hours, sometimes a little bit less. And I think what they've constructed here for Halloween Havoc gets a thumbs up from me. Like, I like the card that they put together. There is one element to this that I just can't stand, and I wonder how many people are with me on it. And we'll get to that in a minute. But collectively, you've got all your big stars on this show. You got them all in matches that I think people care about and are invested in. And I think they're going to be good matches, like top to bottom, WWE style, NXT style matches. And so, that's good for this card. I think, I think that when you watch a show like this, you have to take into account that you are seeing a group of stars that aren't polished yet, right? Like you just aren't. Like, some of them are not polished. Whoever wrestles Kalani Jordan, in her NXT North American Women's Championship match, not polished. Like that group, the Fatal Attraction group, is just not a polished group at this point. Kalani Jordan is not a finished product at this point in time, right? Like, I'm pulling up the card here. She's just not. And so you're going to get a little bit of that. At the same time, what you also get are talents that really seem like they're going all out to have a great, tremendous performance. I think that is unheralded part of these NXT shows, where you could tell that these folks, these acts, are getting their opportunity. They're getting their shot, and they're taking a big swing at it. And so I think that it's fun to watch people in that with that mindset kind of get after it and really put their best foot forward. I think that's fun. And again, an unheralded part of watching NXT on a regular basis. I really do. Hang on a second here. The card just is not pulling up. All right, come on. All right. I got it now, finally. Let's see here. Is it up yet? Yes, we got it. Okay, so Halloween Havoc. Let's start with the main event. It is a NXT Championship match between the NXT champion Trick Williams and Ethan Page. So this is a rematch of their title match from a couple weeks ago on NXT TV. CM Punk was a special guest referee in that match. Now it's a Devil's Playground match. And this is my problem with the Halloween Havoc card. Why the silly gimmick matches? Just call this what it is. It's a street fight. Why does it have to be more than that? Why the Devil's Playground match? It drives me crazy. I think it waters down your gimmick matches. It's just like when they do the Miracle on 34th Street fight during Christmas time, or the Tricker Street fight, during Halloween. I would not be surprised if we saw something like that on Raw this week. It's just, it just waters down everything. Oh, you got hit with a bag of candy corn. Big deal. that doesn't, I guess getting smacked in the face with a bag of candy corn might hurt, but you get my drift. It turns your gimmick matches into something silly. Worse is the Men's North American Championship match later, which is a tables, ladders, and scares match. Whatever the heck that means. Again, not good. Not good. So the names I don't like. The match, though, I like. I think Trick Williams versus Ethan Page is a good feud. I mean, it's a good feud for Trick Williams. I think that Ethan Page really has shown something. I think he's shown the ability to be a good mid-card heel. I don't think he's going to go to the main roster and have just a hot run at the top of the card. I think that's not in the cards for him unless something really changes. But in NXT here, where he's kind of like a bigger fish in a smaller pond, he plays the heel part really well. And Trick Williams, he's really set up Trick Williams successfully, to really not have to do much. Trick Williams didn't have to cut this big long promo this week. He can just kind of do the go home stuff, and Ethan Page took the rest on. just shined up Trick perfectly. And then Trick just said, hey, like, basically, I'm paraphrasing here, but basically, I'm going to beat you, and that's it. And it was a really simple, straightforward, to the point, go home segment for a match, but it worked. And a lot of it rested on the shoulders of Ethan Page. I mean, he really did the heavy lifting to get everything over. Trick, though, he's got something that people in the wrestling business across all companies, AEW, WWE, New Japan, Indies, he has something that wrestlers would die for, and that is just a genuine connection with the audience. Like, Trick has that. He has it, period. He can do no wrong. Like, he doesn't have to have like a big grandiose go home promo, because he already has the fans on his side. They want to see him win, and they want to see him beat Ethan Page, and that's that. So that, it's cool to see a babyface like that. I mean, he's like Cody a little bit too. Cody doesn't have to do much, and he's getting cheered right now. Trick's the same way. So I'm looking forward to this match. Devil's Playground name aside, I think this will be intense, and I think the crowd will be behind Trick, and I think Trick will win clean. Like, this is where they're going with this. This is not the time to have Trick go 50-50 with Ethan Page. He's just too important. And I think he just gets a definitive win here. He wraps up the show as NXT champion, and that's exactly how it should go. Sean's in the chat, and he says, "What's up, Zach? Don't love the Halloween Havoc matches. Just have regular matches." And yes, he agrees with me. Yes, no gimmick matches. Yes, for sure. As far as the actual match goes, Sean says here, Trick needs to retain. Ethan has done well, but no hot potato with the title right now. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think they got what they needed to get out of the Ethan Page title run. I mean, they did. They set him up as a heel, and on a big show in front of a big audience when they premiered on CW, he did the job, and he lost the title. And I think that's been like a key reason why Ethan Page was champion and why he took the title off of Trick so quickly, was because I think they knew they had that coming. And I think, this is not the time to hot potato it. This is Trick's time, his time to go with it, his time to move forward as champion for the brand. He's clearly the biggest star on the show, and he will be treated as such on Sunday. I'm certain of that. All right, we'll move to the NXT North American Championship. Tables, ladders, and scares. Yeah, scares. No chairs. No chairs allowed. Scares. Only scares. Tony D'Angelo defending the title against Oba Femi. This one's a little bit harder to predict, just because Femi has been so dominant and has already lost to Tony D'Angelo once. It's also odd because I think Oba Femi, in losing the NXT North American Championship a couple weeks ago, really will still be the guy that gets elevated sooner than Tony D'Angelo. So like, it's a case of where like you're kind of like failing upwards here for Oba Femi. It's like he's losing the NXT North American Championship because he has to, because they want him to wrestle in the world title picture. And like, the biggest match that I think NXT can do right now is Oba Femi against Trick Williams. That's the match that I'd be booking for WrestleMania weekend. And in order to do that effectively, you really can't have Oba Femi you can't have him have the North American title with this. At least, I mean, you could, but I think it works better if he doesn't have it. Here, they're doing the ladder match stipulation. So, they have, or not the stipulation, the tables, ladders, and chairs stipulation. So you have lots of outs here where Tony D'Angelo can, I don't know, he can bury Oba Femi in something, or some crazy big move off of the stage or something to that effect. Like, you could work some spot into this where Oba Femi does not get the title back and loses, but also doesn't really lose. And I think that's what you're looking at here. Let's talk about both guys. Oba Femi, huge upside. As Sean says here in the chat, Oba will move up to the main title at some point. He's on such an upward trajectory. Like what he's doing. Yeah. And I love what he's doing too. I think he's a top guy in the making. He's not there yet, obviously, but the pieces are there. And I think it's telling for him in this feud that they're not painting him as like a true heel. You know, he's going up opposite Tony D'Angelo, and Tony D'Angelo is a clear baby face, and the audience is kind of on D'Angelo's side. But Femi's not, you know, winning these matches underhandedly. He's not cheating, nothing like that. It's all pretty much straightforward, and he's just the dominant champion that Tony D'Angelo is just overcoming. And I think that's telling. I think that, like, if Femi wasn't important and he was losing these matches, he would just be like a straight up heel. But they're being very careful with him because he does have such a huge upside. Tony D'Angelo, less upside in my opinion, especially in the current gimmick. I talk about this all the time. He just, I mean, the bottom line is he just doesn't have like a big future on the main roster as this mob boss. Like, I think that gimmick can work in NXT, but when you put it on Raw, like it has to live in a zone with, you know, Seth Rollins and Gunther and, you know, and Braun Breaker, and it just seems to be like a totally different tone than those like serious top guy characters on that show. It's much more like, you know, a Final Testament thing than it is anything else. And so, does the Final Testament work on Raw? I mean, I guess in certain ways, but in the other ways, I don't think it does. I don't think it does work either. So I don't know. I think Tony D'Angelo definitely has a ceiling on him. He's got a lot of charisma. He can work fine matches, but it's just this gimmick. I don't know. Andrew H says here, clearly Zach is not a fan of the classics. What classics? What classics are you talking about? Am I missing? Have they done mob boss gimmicks before? I'm sure they have. They've done every gimmick multiple times. But thank you, Andrew. Always enjoy hearing from you, man. Glad you tuned in. I was wondering. I was like, where's Andrew today? Not here? Like, what the heck? Oh, Mafia classics. Got it. I like Mafia stuff, just not in like wrestling. I don't know that it works in wrestling. Yes, The Sopranos was perfect until the end. Hey, I'm a huge Sopranos fan. Again, I just would not want. I don't think The Sopranos works in WWE. That's what I maintain here. That's what I maintain. Thanks, Andrew. All right, so Tony D'Angelo is going to retain this somehow, and I think this is going to be a good match. What they do have here is like crowd investment. The crowd is interested in this. If you missed their match from NXT a couple weeks ago, like check it out. You're not going to want to like. It was a good match. It was a really good match between those two guys, and I think this will be just as good. James Gandolfini slapping the ass out of Rollins. Prince money. Rollins, I prefer like Dominic. I think Dominic would be better to take the Tony Soprano slap. Oh, I love it. Good stuff. All right. We've got Stephanie Vaquer and Julia versus Roxanne Perez and Cora Jade in a tag team match. This has been built up nicely. There's some genuine hatred there. You got the two newcomers, Vaquer and Julia, against Perez and Cora Jade, like the two, like the old guard of NXT and the heels. This, I think, is going to be the best match on the show. Mark my words. I think this has the most talent in it across the board. Stephanie Vaquer has been very impressive. Like, man, she just has like some crazy intensity about her when she's in the ring. It's like, it's fun to watch. And like, if you would have asked me ahead of time, like, hey, who's going to be the bigger star, Julia or Vaquer? I would have said Julia all the way. And I still think she's going to be a very big star, but Vaquer so far has shown me more. And I think she really has it. She really has it. And, I think I think if you're Triple H, you're like, oh man, can we bring her up to the main roster sooner than later? And I guess he could. It's his call. But yeah, he's going to want to give her some seasoning down in NXT. But they've got a star there, no question about it. And I think you're going to see why in this match. I hope the match gets time. I hope it gets time to develop. I hope it gets time for them to do what they do. And if it does, I think you're looking at a really strong tag team match here. Andre Chase is going to face Ridge Holland in an ambulance match. The old Chase University saga. This Chase University story finds its way onto pay-per-view every single time. And it's always something interesting. Like, part of me just hates the fact that I'm into what Andre Chase and Chase University does, because fundamentally, I think it's just a dumb concept. Like, a university within like a wrestling show. Like, my God. Weird. But they pull it off. They pull it off somehow. Like I think the audience tomorrow night is going to want to see Andre Chase beat up and beat Ridge Holland. And I agree with Sean here. Sean, Sean Ridge Holland does nothing for me. Sean says, just don't see it. Yeah, I don't either. But I think he's jobbing out. I think he's doing the job here. It's time. Like, it's time for Andre Chase to come out on top. I think that's what's going to happen. I don't know. Like, I think you can copy everything I said about Tony D'Angelo to Andre Chase. Like, those two gimmicks, I just don't know what place they have on main roster TV. I don't see it. I think it works in the NXT, the smaller NXT environment. Don't know that you can pull it off in the same way on Raw or on SmackDown. So, I just, I just don't see it. Chase, you. I shouldn't like them as much as I do, but they're compelling. And I think the reason why is, like, they're just able to play it so well. Like, they're in. They buy in. Andre Chase and Thea Hale and Duke Hudson, like, they're all in on it. And that matters. Like, I don't think any other group could pull this off. Just like when you look about The Undertaker and you're like, oh, Undertaker, when you strip that down and you were just to explain somebody what that gimmick is, you're like, that is the weirdest gimmick of all time. Like, what a weird, dumb thing. But it works because the guy doing it makes it work. Same thing here with Andre Chase. I just don't know that it has a very high ceiling at this point. Either way, though, I think Andre Chase puts Ridge Holland in an ambulance and wins the match. And then finally, we've got the NXT North American Women's Championship on the line. It's a spinner's choice match, so they're going to do some kind of gimmick, but it's going to be Kalani Jordan defending against either JC Jane, Fallon Henley, or Jasmine Nix. We don't know who it's going to be yet. They're going to reveal that on the show. We don't know what the spinner's choice is going to be. They're going to do that on the show. So, we'll see. Kalani Jordan will retain. That I know for sure. She's not doing the job in this one against any of those women. Amy is jumping in here going, I like the spin the wheel, make the deal concept. I like the concept too. I think that's an interesting concept to break out for Halloween Havoc. I just wish they didn't have the silly names. It's the names that drive me crazy. That's the problem for me. I like the wheel. I think the wheel plays. And you can't do it for every show, obviously, but I think the wheel plays. Just no more silly names. Why must we go down the silly name route? Why? All right. That's NXT. Thanks, Amy. Appreciate the chat. Let's go, and now let's move our attention to TNA Bound for Glory. Let me pull up that card here. This is the biggest show of the year for TNA. And it's in Detroit, Michigan. They're going to have a nice crowd on hand, just like they did for the last pay-per-view. So it's an interesting environment to see kind of what goes down here. That's tomorrow night. So it's Saturday night. And some good matches on this show. The main event is a TNA World Heavyweight Championship match with Frankie Kazarian, as the special guest referee. We've got Nick Nemeth defending the TNA title against, say his name, Joe Hendry. Finally, right? Been calling for this. Got to put Hendry in a championship match. They waited until the biggest show of the year. I think that took guts. I think that took guts because you never know when a gimmick like Hendry's is going to fizzle. But it hasn't. And their bet paid off. Now they can go to this show. They can go to this match. They can do the match, and they can do the big title change. And that's what has to happen here. If we're talking about Nick Nemeth still being champion on Monday when we do this show, that's going to be bad for TNA. I think they've got some goodwill right now. I think they've got some good momentum. I think they've got a decent partnership with NXT. But you got to do the right business at the right time. And so many times in TNA history, they just don't. They don't. TNAs, right? You don't want TNA to TNA here. This has to be Joe Hendry clean over Nick Nemeth to win the title. Big crowd pop. That's what has to happen. That's best for business right now if you're TNA. And I think they know that. And I think they're going to go down that road. But I've liked what they've done with that match. The TNA Tag Team Championships will be on the line in a Full Metal Mayhem match. It's the System. Brian Myers and Eddie Edwards against the Hardys, against Ace Austin and Chris Bay. This is gonna be a wild this is gonna be a wild match. It's gonna be a wild match. The Hardys are in it. So I expect big bumps, I expect big spots. And the thing is, I expect the System to retain. At least I hope so. You would be very kind of, I think you could be like convinced to put the titles on the Hardys here, but I think that'd be a mistake. They're just at the end of their run. I don't think you need them as champions in your company in TNA. I think Brian Myers and Eddie Edwards, the System, is a big part of the show week to week, and you go with it. You go with them. You go with them. I mean, Ace Austin and Chris Bay, sure, you could do it, but I think keeping the titles in the System makes all the sense in the world, and I think that they'll do that. Jordan Grace is going to defend the TNA Knockouts Championship against Masha Slamovich. This, I think, has match of the night potential. Both these women are really great workers. Jordan Grace has had a really strong title reign, and Masha Slamovich, is a solid challenger for her. This is a tough one to predict because, if you look at like some behind the scenes stuff, if you look at Jordan Grace and what her contract situation might be, I think at some point she's headed to NXT and she's headed to WWE. If that's sooner than later, then you may see a title switch here, because I think Slamovich is the right person, the right woman to take the title off of Grace. But is it the right time? That's the question. I think they had a good go home segment last night on the show on TNA Impact. And I think this match is ready. It's ready to be what it is. And I think I'm predicting that Jordan Grace retains the title, though. I think they're going to hold it on her a little bit longer. Even though I think Slamovich is a good opponent and this will be a good match, I don't think it's the time to take it off Grace. She's got a really great run going. And Slamovich, while popular, isn't like super hot right now either. So I'm going with Grace. I'm going with Grace here. The Digital Media Championship is on the line, as well as the International Heavyweight Championship. It's Monsters Ball. Matt Cardona challenging PCO. This is going to be your Monsters Ball style match. Going to be, I think, bloody. I think it's going to be violent, and that's that. I would bet that Cardona wins this. I'd bet that Cardona wins this match. It just seems like it's time to take that title off PCO, and Cardona is a face that can, I think, do well with a championship in TNA. So I'm taking Cardona there. In another match of the night candidate, we have the X Division title on the line. Speedball Mike Bailey challenging Vikingo. I mean, what else do you need to say? Like, this is going to be a good match. Mike Bailey, for my money, is one of the best workers in the world right now, from the perspective of just being able to have different kinds of matches with different people. This guy has worked everybody. He's worked every style. He's worked every different opponent, and he's done it well. There's no reason to think that him and Vikingo aren't going to have like a really cool match here. So I'm looking forward to this one. It'll be good to see Vikingo back, and I think Speedball retains. I think Mike Bailey still retains the title here, but this is more of a watch if you're just interested in good, solid in-ring work, because that's exactly what it will be. And then finally, we got the TNA Knockouts Tag Team titles on the line. Spitfire against Wendy Chu and Rosemary. This Wendy Chu-Rosemary partnership, NXT, TNA crossover, it's been a thing. It's been a thing for a while. And I like it. I think it's interesting. It does something different with Wendy Chu, who I don't think has a lot going for her in NXT proper. But in this tag team, I think she does. I think it works to be partners up with Rosemary. I think they win the titles here, which will be very interesting because Chu's an NXT star and Rosemary's a TNA star. And now if they're champions, that'll be true crossover stuff. More crossover. We have Zaya Brookside and Brinley Reese against Ash by Elegance and Heather by Elegance. To just a standard match. This may be on like a pre-show of some kind. But I think you see Ash by Elegance win this one. For whatever reason, she's important to TNA. I don't see it with her. I never really have, even when she was Dana Brooke. But they like her. I mean, they put her on shows and she gets time. So I think she wins this one. So there you go. That's Bound for Glory. Sean's in the chat going, Wendy Chu is too good to have such a bad gimmick. Yeah. I mean, like I said, man, I know you said up earlier in the chat that you don't follow TNA too much. And I get it. Yeah. To your point, there is only a certain number of hours in the day. And that's why we're here. That's why we cover it. So you don't have to watch it if you don't want to, but still know what's going on. Wendy Chu, like that gimmick, whew, it's rough. It's rough, especially in NXT, because it really doesn't make sense there. When it's next to Rosemary, there's somebody that she has someone to play off of. And so it works a little bit better. It's still not great by any stretch of the imagination, but it's better. It's better. And so it's worth watching. But yeah, it's rough in NXT. Sorry, Wendy, but it is. All right, you guys, that's that preview show completed. Hopefully you guys follow me on social media. You can follow me on Twitter at Zack_Heydorn. I will be watching these shows and I'll be live tweeting them. Hopefully we can hang out and, just shoot the breeze on these shows as they're going on. Follow me right now at Zack_Heydorn. It's right there. Whoop, right there. Can't do this very well. There it is. So do that. And also check out our work at Brass Ring Media. We have written work that goes up every day on our Substack. I really think you guys would like the Substack written work that we do. For myself and the team, you can check it out right now. Just search Brass Ring Media Substack and you get all my written work and all the written work that we do on the with the team. So that's features, that's editorials, that's show reviews, ratings for matches, and so much more. So Brass Ring Media Substack. While you're at it, head over to Brass Ring Media on YouTube and subscribe to our channel. We're live all throughout the week. Tomorrow morning, Ashley Manns will be live on the air with the Kick Ash podcast, and you can check that out if you just subscribe. Totally free to do so. Brass Ring Media on YouTube. Thank you so much, you guys, for tuning in. Hit like if you're still watching this and you're watching this and you haven't liked it. Like. Helps us out big time. I thank you in advance for that. I hope you have a wonderful weekend, a wonderful rest of your Friday, a wonderful weekend. We'll be back with 1TS Daily live right here at One True Sports on Monday. Have a great weekend. I'm Zack Heydorn. We'll talk to you guys really soon. See ya.